Good morning, and happy Sunday from the farm. Welcome to another episode of Thinking Outside the Soil, where I get to talk about topics related to the farmers and ranchers that use hydroponic practices to grow the crops and creatures we need to eat. I am your host, Sean Short, and today is January 8th, 2023. Thank you for being with us on this beautiful morning. Another delightful day lies ahead for us all. Today's episode is about chickens and hydroponic fodder. I wanted to tell you about how I became a chicken man, and then share with you a little bit about how hydroponic fodder benefits our feathered friends, but some boilerplate stuff first. Chickens are birds that we raise for meat, eggs, or feathers, and they're one of the most common and widespread domestic animals in the world. We can find them on every continent except Antarctica, and the current estimates say there are about 22 billion of them on this planet. Like many of us that raise chickens, we know them as very intelligent, extremely curious, and social animals, and we can even train them to do simple tasks, and they remember a lot of what we do from day to day. I got my first chickens many years ago. Surprisingly, my flock helped me deal with some of the mental health issues that I was facing at the time, and they also helped me overcome some of my alcohol addiction. There's a lot of therapeutic benefits to taking care of animals. And as many of us also know, once chickens come into our lives, they don't really seem to go away. I found that Tractor Supply and Big R became my favorite stores. And those little chirps that you hear when you go there, those must have planted some sort of little seed in my brain to be a bird dad. So it was after finally getting sober and getting out of jail for the last time that I was able to be in this place where I could form healthy relationships. And I was dating this woman about 4 years ago, and one day I went over to her place and she was building a chicken coop. So apparently these chirps at the feed stores are contagious, so be careful if you go there. Now, I'm a bit of a creative person, and my engineering mind just had to help. It was also this really great way to bond and learn about each other. And I know that those experiences will help me find the right woman here soon. But we were able to make a lot of progress, and we raised ducks, broilers, and a rooster named Rick. And yes, that's a nod to us Rick and Morty fans. Rick really taught me what it means to try to be a laying producer. Yet it was like hatching the eggs that truly turned me into a chicken man. The first time that I candled an egg after that few days stage in the incubator literally melted my heart. Life is truly amazing, especially when you can see it at such a macro scale. So soon after, my aquaponics farm adopted a backyard coop, and the at-risk youth that I work with just fell in love with the girls. My business partner asked me right away to look into the laws for selling eggs. And those first eggs were such a joy. As anyone who's ever had a fresh egg, there's really no comparison. Well, I mean, there is, but that depends a bit on what your girls eat. And I say that because it really wasn't until I started raising my own chickens that I learned how incredible hydroponics could be for every single farmer. My first products as a new farmer were an organic alfalfa and organic clover sprouts that we grew for people. If you go back to those earlier episodes, you can catch a glimpse of alfalfa and clover and what I say about those. I get a bit nerdy in there, so for those of you that like that, you'll love those episodes. But learning how to do new things leads to failures, and I had some wasted sprouts, so did the kids. But like any resourceful farmer, we fed those out to our chickens, and they just ate them up. The first thing we really heard was our patrons telling us that these were some of the best eggs they've ever had. They couldn't crack them very easily compared to the ones that they got off the shelf in the store, and they were significantly more yellow, and they were just tastier from what they could tell me. I also saw when I later would do my farm accounting how little I was spending on my chicken feed. And so I was inadvertently supplementing my feeding regimen with this failed sprouting experience. So sometimes there's always a silver lining in things. And I saved almost 50% of my costs because I was using less commercial kibble. And the bulk seed that I was using was cheaper than the commercial kibble as well. Especially once it's sprouted, the seeds gain significant amounts of weight in water, making them cheaper than commercial seed. And that just blew my mind. It helped me see this potential to raise animals like chickens and other ruminants. And that's what really inspired me to write the book, Thinking Outside the Soil for Farmers. It was also this call by a small-scale rancher that manages the cattle on the Silvendale Ranch, and the excitement between what he saw and how amazing my chickens were is just the biggest things. And during that research for this book, I found this really cool visual display that was called Story Maps, and it showed the top 6 livestock in the world and where they are at. And that's where the 22 billion chicken display blew my mind. So by comparison, cattle come in at number 2 with about 1.5 billion. Now, with about 8 billion people on this world, that's 3 chickens for every person. It's insane. And since chickens are on every continent except Antarctica, I truly do believe that poultry farmers are the best candidates to consider the hydroponic fodder avenue. I mentioned in the beginning that this hydroponic fodder has benefits to chickens. So this week, I'm going to get more into depth about the benefits for broilers and their meat. I'll talk about the layers and the amazing eggs that we see, as well as like this lesser known need for better feathers. If you want a good primer on these topics, please check out episode 7 on birds. That is all that I have for you today. As always, I would love to hear or read your thoughts, so please leave a comment or email me over at Sean@thinkingoutsidthesoil.com. That's SEAN, like Sean Penn. If you've enjoyed this or any previous episodes, go ahead, hit the subscribe button, and tap that little bell to turn on notifications. To learn more about how hydroponic fodder helps farmers save water, improve livestock quality, and become better stewards, check out thinkingoutsidthesoil.com. And if you head over there right now, you can get yourself a free copy of my book, Thinking Outside the Soil. All I ask is that you take care of the hard costs of shipping. So get your copy today and don't miss out on becoming part of the next agricultural revolution. Thank you for being with us on another episode of Thinking Outside the Soil. Take care and have a lovely day. Hey, before you go, check out the links below. Leave me a rating and review and follow the show. Don't forget to get yourself some of our Blooming Health blended sprouting mix. Our mix has been shown to get the best eggs and create the healthiest flocks. With feed costs going up, right now's the time to lock in a subscription so that you can get the best eggs without having to go to the grocery store or the feed store anymore. Check out the links below to get yourself some Blooming Health blended sprouting mix.